Okay, hi and welcome everyone to another Signal of Doom YouTube video for the YouTube channel. I'm obviously Dave. Look, we recorded last night an episode of Signal of Doom, which I've just finished editing and will be uploaded after I do this video. So you'll have that later tonight, and we do Secret Wars and cover a lot of movie news, etc. And upcoming next week we'll be doing Black Panther, Panther's Rage, which I'm looking very forward to. Now, okay, so I've been meaning to do for a couple of days another YouTube video, and look, frankly, things have just lined up perfectly. I've been really busy at work, but it's now lined up beautifully. And two things to discuss. Firstly, okay, we've seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Nickelodeon new series that's coming out later this year. Some of the images released. I can't even look. Okay, I'm going to break it down very simply. I can't stand the images, to be honest. The images of Raphael in particular may be the worst I've ever seen for a turtle image, ever. I think it's appallingly bad. And so, suddenly they're squares. And especially he is, and I just can't stand it. And this comes from a lifelong, almost, as long as the Turtles have been around, I've been a fan. I played back in high school. I played the role-playing game of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was honestly one of my favourite games of all time. I loved it with a passion. I almost failed a grade because I played it so much. I got switched schools to a more academic school after this because my mother was so pissed. But that game was everything to me, and it's the reason I got into comics in the first place, because of a comic that was made during the game. So I love the Turtles. I'm always supportive of the franchise for its many iterations. So, I think that the designs are just terrible. I mean, I loved the 80s Turtles. I love the original comics. I've got the original comics. I dug them heavily. I think the latest Nickelodeon series has probably been the strongest series probably since the 80s series. The other series they did in the sort of early 2000s I was also a big fan of. So, I mean, I've carried my love of this through many, many years, and I'm typically not a huge overreactor. This is not my Turtles. I just think the image is just terrible. The story information that Raph's the leader now. I mean, I'm a massive Raph fan. Up here, I'll bring it down. Hold on 1 second. Raph. And I've got Leo as well, up there as well. He's my favourite turtle, to be honest. And Leo's my second favourite. And so this is nothing against Raph as an actual character, but he's always been the bad boy. And for him to be the leader permanently, it's just a misread. And I know that the final creator, Peter Laird, sold his stake in the Turtles several years ago. Probably about 6 or 7 years ago now, to Nickelodeon, so they own it. I get it. You own the IP. That doesn't mean we have to dance to the whim of every single decision made. It doesn't mean that. And I won't. Frankly, I think it's appalling. And I've heard young people, I've heard old fans, I don't normally seek outrage, but I've heard outrage on the internet for 2 days from Turtles fans on this. And those who say give it a chance, sure, I will, just purely because I'm a fan. But no, I think it's going to be a failed reboot. What else? April being black is so not a concern for me. That's no problems whatsoever. The racial change of April from generally white Caucasian in the animated shows, I'm well aware that there's speculation that she was always black in the comics, and I wasn't aware of that until today. Now, I've gone back today after I heard those comments and looked in the original comics, because I'm well stocked on Turtles here. I have the Ultimate Collection, the first 3 Ultimate Collections that they put out. Beautiful books, and I highly recommend them. And yeah, she looks like it's black and white comics, so it's hard to be 100% certain, but it looks like she could be very light black. And she's certainly got what almost seem like dreads. Then I read into it more, and apparently there was dispute between the bloody creators, Eastman and Laird, over if she was black or white. And I believe Eastman says he based it on his former girlfriend who became his wife, who was a black woman, and Laird said she was white. Now, This basically means to me that I really don't care what race she is, and that's not even a concern. Her being black in the new animated show, all more power to her, frankly. But then, if you think Raph's as bad as it gets, have a look at what Splinter looks like in the new version. It's cringeworthy to the extreme. It is. I saw a friend of mine, Corey. He basically a big fan of the Signal. He quoted someone else as saying, "I never thought Michael Bay's Turtles would be the second ugliest," and I 1000% agree. I didn't like I've seen both movies. I enjoyed them for what they are. I didn't like the design of the turtles in those, but that pales in comparison. Always the animated shows had something going for them that made you think, you could still get what Turtles fix you needed. And the latest Nickelodeon show has been great. So for them to go to this, I really don't know who they're trying to catch. Because if it's people who are watching the Nickelodeon show, then they jump to this, it's going to be a radical shift. I don't think the kids are going to like it. The older fans, whose money's just as good as well. Can I be honest? Our money is just as good. Like, it clears. The older fans are going to hate it. I don't know what they're trying to play to here. And so just to go through the rest of the story, apparently Leo now thinks he's the coolest of the group, yada, yada, yada. Leo's always best as the leader. Making Raph the leader for more than an arc is like a mistake. It's a misread of the Turtles mythology. And yeah, I get it. You're trying to reboot. Well, I don't know why. It feels needless. It feels pointless. I can't stand it. I'm giving it a 0 out of 10 from what I've seen so far. And this comes from a hardcore Turtles fan who's survived many iterations of the Turtles. Like the 80s cartoon was so different from the comics, the black and white comics. And I actually became a fan through the comics and through the role-playing game before the bloody 80s cartoon hit screens. And when it did, it was just so kiddie, but it was fun. And had a real sense of humour, and the show grew, and it was quite funny. This feels like a real misstep, and I'll be very interested to see how this goes and how it launches, and what the fan, consensus will be in like a year from now, if it comes out in late 2018. Because right now, I am so not feeling it. I'd love to hear from Signal listeners what you guys think. Is it time? I don't know. Like, I'm not going to walk away from the franchise, but I feel so conflicted and so just disappointed that they've gone this route. It's a 0 out of 10. I don't know what else I can say. Now, the other thing I want to talk about very briefly is my new obsession, which is the Fugitive TV show, the 60s show. Just to give a bit of background here for listeners and viewers. Basically, I was walking through a store in Christmas and got it for my dad, the complete box set of The Fugitive. Check this out. This bad boy. All 4 seasons of The Fugitive. It was reasonably priced. I'm trying to get this on the screen. Yeah. It was reasonably priced. And I sort of bought it thinking, man, I wouldn't mind that myself. And then I'm walking through the store just the other day, and they had it on discount, like 20% off. It was very reasonably priced already, and then another 20% off, and I just thought, this has got to happen. Check this out. I'm at season 1. I've been watching it all afternoon. I want to make some comments on this show. Obviously, they made the Harrison Ford movie in the very early 90s, which I adored. This is such a brilliant show. It's black and white, basic story. Dr. Richard Kimble, he's innocent, and he's on the run from this cop who pursues him. This cop Gerard pursues him like you've never seen a cop pursue a fugitive in existence. And Richard Kimble is innocent. He knows the one-armed man killed his wife, but so he knows he's innocent, but the courts have decided he's guilty, and he was on his way to death row. And every show starts out with it goes, name Richard Kimble, profession medical doctor of medicine, destination death row. And then you see the train smashes and Kimble gets away, and then he's literally on the run going from town to town while this cop's pursuing him everywhere, and he can only stay in places for so long. I guess also while trying to prove that his wife, that he's not the killer, that the one-armed man killed his wife. So I've been watching it this afternoon. It's great TV. It has a huge reputation. I think Roy Huggins his name is. I think he was behind Maverick, and some other shows of that ilk. I know his producing partner had a massive role in the Rockford Files. There's a whole lineage of shows there that Roy Huggins is involved in, but this is absolute gold. I've watched probably 6 episodes so far, and you get a real snapshot into the time period. I think it's so fascinating in the time that I always associate with like black and white, like law and order is very clearly defined in the show, and yet he's running. This guy is running, and there's interesting situation after interesting situation. A young Robert Duvall is in one episode, a 2-parter actually, called Never Wave Goodbye, which is one of the best episodes I've seen, where he almost gets caught and he's almost settled down. There's a lot of really good female co-leads as well, because he tends to run into a girl in every town. It's kind of played a bit romantically, but the lead guy, David Jansen, he's not like what you would call leading man handsome. He almost looks like a bit of an everyman, but he plays the role so well, this kind of paranoia mixed with just he can't stay still, and quite a normal persona. It's not particularly heroic. I mean, he's just a good person pushed into an impossible situation. I think it's really, really, I mean, it's an acclaimed masterpiece, and I'm so glad I've picked this up. Excuse me, and I will keep watching it. And this is how highly I would rate it. Like, one of my favourite shows is Better Call Saul, okay? And I have always meant to watch Breaking Bad, and I never have, because I missed it when it came out, and my girlfriend watched it, and I was just busy doing other things. I think I was working on one of the Asante novels, and I just never got a chance to watch it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. Well, the other night I sat down and started to watch Breaking Bad. I'm halfway through the first episode, really, really enjoying it. Not a surprise, okay? This is as good as that. Like, honestly, yes, it's of its time, but you'll be surprised how timeless this is. The sense of sort of small town Americana, mixed with this kind of like omnipresent almost law and order that's constantly on his tail. These situations he gets thrown into, it's just well written and well acted all across the board. The supporting actors are also very good. It's not just the guy carrying it with kind of crap actors. From what I've seen so far, a lot of the women that he kind of runs into in different locales are extremely attractive and good actresses. It's marked by good acting and good writing, and once you've got those two things going in combination, I mean, the sky's the limit. It being in black and white, I'm someone who loves black and white movies, old movies and stuff like that. It's so well shot. It's almost hard to believe that it comes from like the early 60s, and here we are in 2018 and I'm watching it and I'm just gripped, and I'm so glad I don't know too much about it. Any of the plot details. I knew the basic concept. I've always loved the Harrison Ford movie, and I would honestly, I'm going to do more reviews of it just to mix it up on the Signal. I sometimes think talking about things other than just like the latest superhero comics. So yeah, The Fugitive from 1960, I think, I want to say 1, but maybe 1963, actually I think it might be. I can't remember. It ran for 4 seasons, and apparently the finale was like one of the most, at the time, was the most watched thing on TV in the States of all time. I'm sure it was broken. I think MASH broke it, and then I'm sure it's been broken by other things since. But anyway, they're the two things that I really want to talk about this week. Obviously, follow us on YouTube. Hit subscribe so you can get all the videos. I'll definitely do another one during the week. I've had an extremely busy week at work, which is why I've kind of been absent from it. And this episode, or the new episode of Signal Doom, will be coming up within the next 20 minutes. I'm just about to upload it now. We're doing Black Panther next week as well. So hit like on Facebook page, and any questions, signalofdoom@gmail.com is our email address. Now, I hope that's covered everything. Total outrage. And as you can tell, I'm a pretty relaxed guy. Like, my definition of outrage is fairly minor. I mean, honestly, what are you going to do? Like, this is the thing. Like, these companies that have these IPs, I get they have to push it all the time, and they have to refigure and retool. And, like, yeah, I suppose. But, like, the Turtles never stray that far away from the basic. Like, why can't we go a bit more back to basics rather than this kind of bullshit new iteration? I mean, Donatello is still going to be the tech guy from the looks of it, and Michelangelo is going to be the fun guy. So, cool, you've got your personas. I don't know why we need to screw it. I still don't know why Raphael... I saw this ridiculous thing on Nerdist, and it really pissed me off, actually. And I'm quite happy to call them out about it. Like, are they 100% in the pocket of Nickelodeon? Because the woman there... I don't actually know her name. Jessica something. Look, no offense to her, but, like, the article that she gave, or the speech that she gave, it seems so dismissive, and like there are actual fans out there who've supported this franchise and poured like hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars into it. Their voices are allowed to be heard, frankly, and to be sort of just told like, hey, just embrace the new. New reboots fail all the time, so it's quite, it is actually quite dependent on what the audience reacts to. That's actually entertainment. Like, so I'm not frightened to sort of like criticize something from the first visuals, because that's what we've got to work with. When the show comes out, I'll watch 2 episodes and then I'll make another decision. But you're quite entitled to react, because these companies are not putting it out for charity. They're putting it out to make massive profit, and you're the consumer, so you're quite entitled to a right of response. And I refuse to be told otherwise. Anyway, I mean, and just the Nerdist Puff piece was just like, oh, can I just throw up now, please? Because I just don't need to be told what to think. Like, let people make their own minds. But if people love it, they love it. Good for them. But if people can't stand it or understand what they're saying, they're quite entitled to voice their opinion. Like, I mean, who are you hurting? The feelings of a massive corporate? I'm not too worried about that. Okay, anyway, that's kind of my rant on that topic. and yes, I am available, Nerdist, if you want me. I'm actually quite happy to jump over, so don't get the impression there's not a massive hypocrite hiding behind these, not mask, really, cap. Because I'm quite happy to jump over and do puff pieces myself. But until then, you've got the Signal of Doom on full blast coming to you from Sydney, Australia, and we will continue to. Okay, thank you and good night.